Hi, I'm Evelyn. This is Ideas in Practice with Evelyn. In the previous episodes, I explored awareness, uncertainty, environmental influence, and how thinking changes across different conditions. But as the observation continued, another pattern slowly started becoming more noticeable. Sometimes, the moment I try to explain a thought, parts of it starting to disappear. There were moments where an experience felt very clear while it was happening. I could follow it, reflect on it, and feel connected to what was occurring. But afterward, something strange often happened. The moment I tried to organize it, describe it, or translate it into language, the structure of the memory itself sometimes started to weaken. Details that felt accessible only moments earlier became fragmented, harder to reach, or completely lost. There were even moments where I woke up knowing I need to remember this before it disappeared. So instead of immediately get out of bed, I would repeat parts of the experience internally, trying to hold on to the memory long enough to record it. Sometimes the memory stayed stable for a short time, but once the process of explanation began, parts of the experience often started dissolving. Not because nothing happened, but because access to the experience itself appeared to change during articulation. At first, I assumed that reflection would simply preserve the experience more clearly, but over time, it started feeling more complicated than that. The process of recalling, reflecting, organizing, and explaining did not always stabilize the memory. Sometimes it appeared to transform it. Another pattern also became increasingly noticeable. There were repeated moments where an experience felt like it was moving towards another stage, another transition, or another continuation. The next part almost seems ready to appear. But right after reaching it, the process would suddenly be interrupted. Sometimes by waking up, sometimes by environmental interruption, sometimes by losing access to the thought itself. And afterward, only fragments remained. This introduced a different kind of question. Not, was the experience real? But why does access to certain thoughts become unstable? Because there were moments where thinking itself still seemed active, reflection still seemed present, reasoning still seemed to continue. Yet, access to the experience became increasingly difficult once it entered language. We often assume that understanding naturally leads to explanation. If we understand something, we should be able to clearly explain it afterward. But this observation suggests that reflection may not always behave in a simple or stable way. Sometimes the experience feels clearer than the explanation. Language simplifies what originally felt complex, or articulation changes what remains accessible afterward. This does not only happen during dreams, it also happens in everyday life. There are moments where we feel an idea clearly, we understand something internally, or we sense meaning before fully explaining it. But once we try to put it into words, the clarity starts fading. Sometimes even say, oh, I knew what I meant a second ago. I understood it before I tried explaining it. I can't fully describe it now. This started changing how I think about cognition itself. Maybe thinking is not only about awareness, memory, or reflection. Maybe it also involves accessibility, continuity, and the ability to hold on to a thought while moving into language. And perhaps the process is more unstable than we usually assume. This also becomes important when thinking about learning. Many educational models assume that understanding naturally becomes articulation. Reflection strengthens clarity, and explanation confirms learning. But this observation suggests something more dynamic. Sometimes explanation improves understanding, but other times the process of organizing and explaining an experience may also simplify it, reshape it, fragment it, or reduce access to parts of the original thought. In Ideas in Practice, I often explore how ideas form under different conditions. But this observation suggests that idea formation may not end once an idea appears. There is also another process: retaining the thought, organizing it, and trying to keep it accessible through reflection and language. And that process itself may continue changing the idea over time. We often imagine reflection as a stable process, as of experience, explanation, understanding, always move in a straight line. But this observation suggests something less stable. Reflection may also involve transformation, reconstruction, interruption, fragmentation, and loss of access, meaning that some thoughts may not disappear because they were never there. They may disappear because access to them changes while we're trying to explain them. Sometimes thinking feels stable and easy to describe, and sometimes thoughts mean to move faster than language can hold on to them. Recognizing that may help us better understand reflection, articulation, learning, memory, and how ideas continue changing even after the experience itself has ended. Thank you for listening to episode 8 of Ideas in Practice with Evelyn. I look forward to continue this conversation with you. Thank you.